So you want to argue point 103. Let's read it out loud for the class, shall we?
Yep.
Point 103 is left blank for the next point that I have not yet written. Are you here to troll, or are you going to actually give me an argument?
Uh, bit of both. Um, that was basically it. But
Because I have people that actually want to have a discussion.
yeah, I know. So I would like to continue the debate on from the last person, so about socialism versus capitalism.
Okay? What you got for me?
So you said socialism doesn't work fundamentally, and you said that was because of regulation.
Um, well, I
Can
have
you,
numerous reasons why socialism doesn't work. I don't have a single reason. I have many, many reasons.
but the main reason you drilled on upon the previous debate was due to regulations and worker-funded co-ops, right?
No, the reason why I think that socialism does not work is that I can empirically show that the outcomes that are incurred through socialism result in worse off societies, not better societies. It appears that your mixed markets, where you have capitalism mixed with social safety nets, seem to be the highest quality of living societies. It is entirely possible that there could be a material dialectic where things could move forward, but right now we just don't have any evidence that socialism is that answer.
And what examples of countries or systems so socialist would you give it? Would you give as them not working out?
Yeah, I mean, it was tried in over 57 countries, and every single one of them it failed. Unless, of course, you think that Vietnam, Cuba, um,
Well, Vietnam was
Russia,
communist, wasn't it?
China, if you consider those to be successes. I don't. I wouldn't want to live in any of those countries.
I believe Vietnam was communist, wasn't it?
You can call it whatever you like.
Wang Yu Min was
Communism has never
supposedly.
been accomplished, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Communism, where everyone's equal, has not been achieved because it's always been at the expense of a tyrannical leader.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
the
agree
whole
with you.
other problem. I mean, I have all sorts of issues. I mean, if you want, I can read you my long ass dissertation as to why socialism is not good.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you read some of the points, some of your favorite points off that then?
Oh boy, you got a can of worms here. All right. Give me a moment. Oh my god. Good god. All right. I am going to take the time to show this on my screen. Give me a quick moment to do that. Let me see here. I don't think I have Discord here as a pop. Give me a quick moment. I'm going to grab a window capture here. Where the fuck is it? Where did my window capture go? It's saying that there
Pretty
is a
much
window
everyone's
capture, but I can't.
OneDrive.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to share my Discord.
Right.
Oh, it's big. It's a big boy. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The predicate of internal values. So I possess a predicate on what I consider to be the perfect society, internal values. Internal values are basically activities and items that if you can do that thing, it would make you more satisfied. It could be as simple as eating sushi, which you enjoy, or being able to do art, music, or exercise. Even if that there are no items required, there are often situations that cannot be satisfied without basic needs being met. Things such as the ability to obtain the things that allow you to do the things to begin with. We can think of basic healthcare as an example. Whereas if this was not readily available, it would result in a loss of internal values, and people cannot do the things that they care about if basic needs are not met.
Mhm.
There's also the fact that doing things requires objects to do them. For example, to be an oil painter, you require ease of access to easel, paints, gamsol, glycol for thinning, brushes, and the paint itself. Given that thought, it is up to a society to establish the highest level of internal values, given that each individual possesses their own internal values independent of other people, but can share them with others. My predicate is that people wish to live the highest quality of life possible, which in my mind is the ability to satisfy internal values to the highest degree. Not necessarily to achieve it, but simply to have the option to do so. You following so far? Does that make sense?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Why internal values?
So
I've thought this. Sorry, what?
I would argue for classical socialism that will remain true, but for specifically for the Nordic model, I know some people have classed it as social democratic, others have classed it as somewhat socialist. I don't think that would necessarily apply,
They're not socialist.
considering you still have relatively free markets.
They're not socialist.
Okay, that's your opinion. All right, next point then.
It's not my opinion. They're not. They're just not.
Okay. Well, I've seen people say both ways.
Let me ask you this. Is socialism the workers' ownership of the means of production?
Um, I would say yes.
Is the Nordic model argue the workers' ownership of the means of production?
But even in Nordic model, they've nationalized key industries.
Okay. Is the Nordic model arguing for the workers' ownership of the means of production?
In some key industries, yes.
Do you think nationalization is the worker ownership?
Not completely.
Okay. Do you think that if some industries are nationalized, that therefore it's socialism?
No.
Okay. I would agree. No, it's not. Anyway, so under the additional predicate, why internal values? I've thought this through for quite some time, considering not just from material, but for spiritual concern. I could not think of a better method to establish a better quality of life for those who have higher levels of internal value satisfaction. While rich versus poor might be somewhat close, it really doesn't map out perfectly as money that exists in a society where their value overinflates of what would leave money worthless. There's also how a person's spiritual desires ultimately lead to a level of, quote, satisfaction, not necessarily happiness, but it can be included to allow this. I see no better method to introduce that would not place internal value satisfaction as the predicate of what we ought care about. Okay. Now on to
Can I ask you a
socialism.
question then?
Sure.
Do you believe there needs to be a differential in wealth in for a society to progress?
What? Say what?
A different, the difference in wealth, so rich and poor.
Um, it's not necessary, but I mean, I think that there'll always be the haves and have-nots. I think like you live in a finite world where things are limited, and as a result, there will always be the haves and have-nots. Anyway, are
But
you ready?
for practicality, if we were to include the resources in space, then it's practically unlimited, isn't it?
I suppose so, but we're not there, are we? Also, we can't just
Mm.
randomly synthesize things on the basis of just its fundamental elements alone. It's not that simple. There's things that are
Fair
hard to
enough.
synthesize. How do you
No.
synthesize a lobster? You don't.
Mm. There's been
Anyway,
experiments with
I wanted to
trying to
go
grow
over
meat.
the problems with the supply chain and empirical
That's fine.
issues. This is an age-old problem that keeps rearing its ugly head. Under concepts of internal value satisfaction, the only way that can be generated to greater degree is by allowing for free market fundamentals combined with social safety nets to maximize internal values. Why? We could see that empirical reality. When you look at the quality of living, the countries with the highest quality of living are capitalist countries, as in private ownership of the means of production, mixed with social safety nets. If we were to use GDP per capita, and then in parentheses, but wait, GDP per capita isn't a good method because of the inequality of wealth. Inequality of wealth does not favor countries that argue in favor of socialism either. Even if you include wealth inequality, it has more to do with corrupt governments than it has to do with socialism versus capitalism. And I have the World Population Reviews with the country rankings of the wealth inequality by country as a metric. The countries with the largest GDP per capita are countries like Luxembourg, 128,820, Ireland, 106,998, Switzerland, 94,835, Qatar, 89,417, Norway, 88,749, Singapore, 84,501, the United States at 78,422, Iceland at 77,961, Australia, 68,024, and Denmark at 66,394. And I've provided the sources right there.
Australia.
So, yes. So,
Mm.
additional note, I'm aware that countries like Qatar, Luxembourg, and Singapore are outliers in the situation for different reasons, such as Luxembourg being very tiny and only wealthy people living there, Qatar being an oil magnet where they can establish great wealth due to their abundance of natural resources of oil, and Singapore having an extremely good strategic location for international trade and commerce. Socialism was attempted in many countries. The ones that were, in quote, socialist spirit still lives includes the Republic of Cuba, the People's Republic of China, Laos Democratic Republic, Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Countries with constitutional references to socialism include People's Democratic of Algeria, the Portuguese Republic, People's Republic of Bangladesh, State of Eritrea, the Republic of Guinea-Bissau, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Republic of India, Nepal, the Republic of Nicaragua, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, the United Republic of Tanzania. Some of these countries have been largely left alone by the United States, such as China, but still bolster extremely low standard of living in comparison to most capitalist countries. Given that there's so little available in these countries, the realization I came to is that the internal values cannot possibly be satisfied to the greatest degree under a socialist system. Certainly, it could be possible by tweaking socialism. It somehow magically does better than capitalist economies, but empirically and currently, that's false. Of course,
I
with
agree
the
with you on
supply
that.
chain, it only gets worse when you look at it, as capitalist nations are often deterred from investing in places that expropriate the means of production, i.e., their property, effectively causing investors to steer away from countries that advocate socialism. This causes a lack of commerce and production, effectively retarding the entire level of production at a base level, given that it does not respect property rights. Given my initial predicate of internal value satisfaction, I find this extremely distasteful and antithetical to a better society. This is, by the way, just one of many other reasons.
I agree with you on that,
Cool.
especially on capitalism versus socialism economically. Um, but there's one point I would like to bring up. I would argue China's not socialist at all.
Okay.
They are just heavily regulated from the CCP,
Okay.
but the workers don't own their companies. Thus,
Xi
using
Jinping
your
is lowering
logic,
your credit score for that take right now.
what?
Xi Jinping is lowering your credit score for that right now.
It's okay. I've got a chow chow, so I've already maxed social credit score. So
Good talk, man. Have a good day.
yeah, so I would argue.
Oh shit! I just kicked him off. I thought he was like done. Did you want to say something? Come back up. Come back. Come back. What were you gonna say? I'm
I
sorry.
pretty much just rounded off my point and then was going to leave.
Go ahead. Just.
Right then.
I'll let you say the last thing.
Oh no, I was just rounding it off for a conclusion and stuff like that.
Okay.
It really wasn't that important. But nice speaking to you. I think we agree on a lot of things.
Fair enough.
That
Yeah.
capitalism with social safety nets is probably the way forwards, but like the best way forwards. But I see one of two things happening in the future. Capitalism